Warning, despite the subject matter at the focus of these videos, my reviews are not intended for viewers under the age of 13, so if you're not of age, turn off the video now. Are they gone? Great, let's get to the intro already. The blame game? What the hell am I supposed to do with that? That's not funny. It's not a reference to anything. It just rhymes. Wait a minute. I got this. The blame game. More like the lame game. Ha ha. I'm sorry, that wasn't my best joke. Anyway, weak episode titles aside, Beast Morphers Season 2 is looking up after the last episode. Sure, it wasn't great in complexity, the way this show usually is, but it gave us a kick-ass team battleizer that felt like a payoff for the characterization from last year. And while the villain side of things was significantly weaker compared to everything else, this episode is a chance to rectify that with Evox's super secret evil plan that involves Nate. This show looks to be building momentum again, so let's see how well that goes as we look at Power Rangers Beast Morphers Episode 28, The Blame Game. The episode opens with the Rangers tossing a football around at the park when Steel sees a little girl get scolded by her father for littering. Steel thinks the father is being mean when he punishes his daughter by having her pick up random pieces of trash, but the others explain the dad is just teaching his daughter a lesson through discipline. This shows Steel that punishments are used to teach people lessons before we cut to the fortress where Blazebot and Roborox return with a puppet that Squirtle turns into a Robotron. Evox orders Blazebot and Roborox to take Controllatron to Grid Battle Force so we can control Nate, and when we cut there, Ben and Betty are seen trying to clean up fallen leaves as the Rangers walk in. Betty gives the leaf blower a boost with Morph-X, which gives the blower so much power it sucks up an entire tree. Inside, Steel goes off on the front desk's security guy named Cole for allowing a worker inside the building without scanning her lunch. Steel says the GB handbook states that all packages must be inspected before entry, and punishes Cole by having him sweep the plaza outside.
Maybe you're being a little harsh?
Hey, Steel has a point. Rules are rules.
It's okay. I accept my punishment. Working at Grid Battle Force is a dream come true for me, so I promise I won't make the same mistake again.
Good. I'm not so sure that was necessary.
Ooh, I love this. Ravi's a stickler for the rules, but Devin isn't. Totally fits with their characters. Back outside, the villains take control of Cole by having him touch a puppet that looks like him, and under the Robotron's control, Cole delivers another puppet to Nate so Controllatron can take control of him. While that's going on, Steel meets up with the other Rangers at Riptide and tells them that he's been going around punishing people for minor missteps. I love it. Steel's like a more serious version of the Blue Centurion, or a less serious version of Robo Knight. Steel even yells at the server for chewing gum in the gym, but before he can dish out a punishment, Devin stops him. The others try to explain that Steel is enforcing the rules too much, but the Silver Ranger doesn't understand because he still thinks he's teaching important lessons. Before they can better explain things, Commander Shaw calls the Rangers about the Robotron and tells them Nate isn't answering his wristcom. The Rangers find Nate just outside GB with Controllatron, who tells them Nate is his good little puppet. Controllatron then sends Nate at the Rangers, but they have a hard time fighting him because they don't want to hurt their friend. This continues even after the Rangers morph, only now it's worse because Nate calls on Tronics to split the team. Eventually the Tronics are defeated, but the Rangers are no closer to saving Nate, so Controllatron teleports away with the Gold Ranger, saying Evox has plans for him. At the fortress, Nate completes the programming for Evox's super secret evil plan, and the big bad even insults Blazebot and Roborox for their failures just because he can. What a dick. Now that Nate's part in the plan is complete, Evox says they can use the Gold Ranger to defeat the rest of the good guys, and Skrulzo plans to release 2 Gigadrones to ensure victory. Back at GB, Steel takes Cole to Commander Shaw for disciplinary action because the security camera caught the guy delivering Nate the puppet that put him under Controllatron's control. As they walk into the command center, Ben and Betty tell Devon they may have seen Nate outside, and rather than tell anybody else, Devon decides to check alone. Back with Steel, he shows Shaw the security footage, to which she questions Cole for an explanation, but he doesn't have one since he doesn't remember delivering the box, saying it's all foggy.
Weak excuse. Cole, you're fired.
Fired? Hold on.
No, Steele's right. You repeatedly broke the rule that requires inspections. And that has put a ranger in serious danger. You're relieved of your duties.
I mean, yeah, that should have happened. Regardless of his explanation, they have video evidence, and it involves Nate, who Commander Shaw admitted was their most important asset in an earlier episode. After Cole leaves, the Gigadrone detectors go off, so Shaw orders the 3 Rangers to man their Zords before getting a hold of Devon. The Red Ranger says he's outside looking for Nate, but after he checks the perimeter, he calls to tell Shaw the bad news, while Nate sneaks up behind him for the kill. Cole, who is now outside, sees this happen, and warns Devon just in time for him to dodge the attacks and morph into action. While that's going on, the other Rangers fight the first Gigadrone to land, but also keep an eye out because they know another one's coming. However, when the other drone does show up, it takes control of the Gorilla Zord that starts fighting Steel. Back with Devon, he destroys the puppet controlling the Gold Ranger while in mid-fight, and now that his friend is free, Devon activates Beast X mode to finish off Controllatron. Red and Gold join the Zord fight after Zoe destroys the puppet controlling the Gorilla Zord, and now that the whole team's together again, they take down the Gigadrones quickly. After the fight, Nate thanks the team for saving him, and describes having no memory while under Controllatron's control, and that everything's foggy. Steel remembers that's exactly what Cole said before he was fired, and realizes Cole was mind-controlled to bring Nate the puppet earlier. Steel says there's only one way to make things right, before we cut back outside, where Ben and Betty plan to grow a new tree with a seed and a drop of Nate's hyper-concentrated liquid fertilizer. However, when the Rangers and Commander Shaw walk outside, Betty unknowingly knocks over more liquid fertilizer onto the tree, but that's not important right now since everyone else is waiting for Cole to return, having been summoned by Commander Shaw. After Cole arrives, Steel explains that he was being controlled by a Robotron earlier and apologizes for overreacting about the lunchbox. Commander Shaw then rehires Cole, with Steel saying this day couldn't get any weirder, and the episode ends with a fully grown tree sprouting out of the ground that Ben and Betty are now stuck in. This episode is okay. For the most part, I liked what was here. The action is amazing, the villain plot is brilliant, and I didn't mind the filler plot with Steel at first. He is still learning how to be human, so it makes sense he'd oversimplify a concept as complex as discipline and making sure punishments fit the crime. However, the issue I have is with the execution, because the show oversimplifies this as much as Steel does. At first, things were going well. Steel was putting his new punishment skills into practice, with Ravi being for the punishments, while Devon and Zoe wonder if the Silver Ranger is going too far. This is a great dynamic that plays off all we know about these characters. I even love that this happens while Nate and Steel are separated for most of the runtime, because it allows Steel to keep going farther and farther with his punishments. From that framework, this could have been yet another exploration of these two as brothers, since one aspect of being an older sibling is teaching your younger brother or sister the difference between right and wrong.
You think I want to babysit my brother the rest of my life? Watch out for Gregorio. Take care of Gregorio. Make sure Gregorio knows right from wrong. Not anymore. Machete's not responsible for nobody but Machete.
Nate especially should have done this for Steel, since he's technically the older brother in this scenario, and I'd even forgive him not saying anything to Steel when Silver disciplines Cole early on, because he's still learning how to be a good older brother. However, after the first scene in the park, Steel and Nate never talk more about this. Hell, Steel isn't even the one to duel with Nate, which would have been a good place to dissect how someone couldn't be responsible for their actions. Instead, Steel realizes all on his own that firing Cole was a mistake and decides to change his whole outlook on punishments just based on that. It's very weak and feels like it comes out of nowhere just so the episode can end on time. I mean, if the episode's going to end with Steel admitting he was wrong for justly firing Cole, then at least have him overreact and ask Cole for a punishment. That would have been more in line with Steel's characterization throughout this episode, and then someone could tell the Silver Ranger that he's been overreacting, rather than having him do a 180 just because the credits are about to roll. Overall, this episode would have been better if it hadn't fumbled the ball with the filler plots by the end. The action is great, even though I think Steele should have been the one to duel with Nate instead of Devin. But I know that was only done because of Sentai footage, and is more of a nitpick than anything else. I'm still curious to find out what Evox's super secret evil plan is going to be, but the weak ending to the plot of this episode kinda soured me on the whole watch. So as much as I would like to, I can't recommend this episode. I'm Nick, aka IronBat1993, and may the power protect you.